Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We're here talking about everything you need to know in the NFL, the betting picks that you need to know, and you can't teach that. Bottom moon man, the people in the room, G Money Grant Mitchell. How you doing?
I'm doing really good, Tanner. This is an opportunity to continue sharing the picks with the people. I know we're climbing in viewers, climbing in subscribers right now, but to the people who have not been on the channel before, I personally, not to toot my own horn here, but I've only had one losing week this entire NFL season. So I'm excited to get back there and share some more picks with the audience.
What up, Grant? What up, Grant? What up, Grant? Getting the winning picks for the people. I did not have a good night. I ended up taking the Dolphins to cover multiple times live, and that just didn't work out for me. I thought I was sitting pretty at 17.5, and then, we can't do simple things that are required of an NFL football player. Anybody named Washington in the state of Miami right now needs to leave. Anybody on the Dolphins named Washington should be cut today.
Everybody on the Dolphins pretty much should just be cut.
So they're more talented than they're showing. Like, you could watch the game last night, and if anybody leaves that game saying that the Ravens are like Super Bowl bound, they're outside their mind. They're obviously going to get better now with Lamar being back. But that was a game where the Dolphins maybe didn't win, couldn't deserve to win, or shouldn't have won, right? But they should have been down by about 10 points, I would say. I think that's a 10-point loss for them, not a 22-point loss.
Yeah, so it's funny because I was talking about my winning streak. I did pick the Dolphins to cover in that game. I think it was 7.5. I think it was 7.5. And like you, I felt beforehand the Dolphins could have been competitive. And watching the game, I felt they could have been competitive as well. They took themselves out of it. Early on, you fumble like that. You miss the field goal from 20 yards away. We were talking in pre-production, the 4th and 2, where you just throw it to the back of the end zone to your 5'0" running back. It's just dumb things, careless mistakes that makes bad teams bad teams. But it's frustrating, especially if you're a Dolphins fan. Not that I am. I don't care. But if you're a Dolphins fan, you're watching that game. It's like, man, we could have been in it. We just didn't give ourselves a chance.
Oh, they easily could have been in the game. And I'm not saying they could have won the game, but I do think they could have even covered 7.5. I mean, you look at turn one of the field goals into a touchdown. Don't miss the other field goal. Don't fumble at the end of the game there. Don't give the Ravens an extra 7 points, and you're back in it. And defensively, they played hard for as long as they could, I think. Like that, it just eventually Derrick Henry took over and Lamar Jackson took over, and that's going to happen. But the Ravens are still not that good of a football team. Like, I'm not going to say they got better on defense because Miami made careless mistakes on offense.
And you know what's funny? So we've been tracking this throughout the season. Even when they were 1-5, they were favored to win the AFC North. They finally dropped a little bit, but they are now back to being, I would say, sizable favorites to win the division. The Steelers are at plus 200. The Ravens are at minus 145.
And it's not like I trust the Steelers. That's my hesitation here. I do think the Ravens ultimately win this division. But when you look at the schedule that they got to go through now, you go Vikings, Browns, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Packers, Steelers. So if you drop an easy game on that schedule, like a Vikings, a Browns, a Jets, even like one of the Bengals games, honestly, you're in trouble because you might lose the Packers, you might lose the Patriots. You got to figure you're going to split with the Steelers. I would say that's 3 losses right there, and that's probably the most that you can possibly have to make the playoffs.
Yeah, so they're 3-5 right now, right? So 3 losses, 9-8 best case.
Yeah, I mean, you can really only lose 2 games the way it's shaping up to safely get in. 9-8 may get you in, and 9-8 may win this division, honestly. Probably 10 wins probably wins the AFC North, and they're more than capable of doing that. But you got to think the Patriots are going to challenge them. The Packers are going to challenge them. One of those Steelers games is going to be tough. Who knows? One of the Bengals games could be tough. I mean, the Ravens they don't look great. And there are a lot of people who walked away from last night's game saying that this Ravens team is actually back and worth a sprinkle to win the Super Bowl. And I can't see it right now the way they look.
No, it might come down to them sweeping the Steelers, getting the tiebreaker, and that could be their path.
Yeah. If the Steelers split with them, there's a really good chance the Steelers win the division.
Yeah, it's probably, I don't want to say guarantee, but it's not as lopsided as minus 145 plus 200 makes it seem.
So let's play a game, Grant. If you're sitting here right now, life on the line, and you got to pick Ravens or Steelers to win, you're sticking the Ravens? Okay. Probably me too. Now, what happens if you just want to have some fun? Your life's not on the line. What are you going to take?
I would still take the Ravens, but I'm not going to bet it right now. Not at -145 with them trailing by 2-3 games, whatever it is. It's just not worth it right now.
Steelers is kind of juicy though.
Yeah, so their schedule, they've got Colts, which is a game we're going to talk about on the show today when we do get into giving our best player props and betting picks from NFL Week 9. That is one of the big games. So they've got the Colts, they've got at Chargers, Bengals, at Bears, Bills, at Ravens, Dolphins, at Lions, at Browns, Ravens.
Yep.
It's tougher than what the Ravens have.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the Chargers should be an easy win because Justin Herbert spending too much time out at social events, not enough time focused on his playbook. But I think that's going to be a division that the Ravens ultimately win. What about the AFC East, Grant? You like the Pats plus 120?
I assume the Bills are still favored out there,
Minus
right?
150.
I would stick with the Bills.
I mean, if they lose to the Chiefs on Sunday, doors right wide open for the Pats. Wide open.
Yeah.
So should be interesting. But yeah, the Dolphins are just a terrible football team. I hate them so much. And I think Mike McDaniel should be fired this morning. I'm surprised that we are recording right now, 8:17 a.m. He has not been fired yet because the team is too talented for what they're putting on the field. Like, this is not a team that should be getting beat by 22 points. That's a performance that you would expect the Browns to have last night, not the Miami Dolphins.
He's
They're
just an
fast.
OC. He's not a head coach.
Because the offense is okay. Like they just did careless things, but the offense, the sets are cool, the movement, all that too is not great, but like it works in the system when you have all the speed. Really bad game for them. I hope Mike McDaniel gets fired today.
Well, we will track that and we can talk about it, but we are going to be talking about on this show, what we are going to be talking about is the best betting picks in the NFL for Week 9. Before we get there, though, we are sponsored by WSN. You can check us out over at WSN.com, where we give out betting picks for big games every single weekend. That includes player props, parlays, picks against the spread. We also got bonus codes for basically every sportsbook under the sun, whether you want to get $1,500 safety nets, bet 5 to win 300 in bonus bets. We also have prediction platforms like Kalshi, a whole bunch of great stuff. Not just sharing our picks, but we're actually getting you guys as some bonuses as well. So make sure you check it out at WSN.com.
Yeah, make sure you guys don't miss it. WSN.com. Subscribe to the podcast as well. Ride the line. We're going to the moon. We're here every Tuesday and Friday. We're posting clips and shorts throughout the week. We're giving you the best betting picks that you need to know for the NFL. Grant has been crushing it. I've been carrying along and giving some good picks as well. So make sure you guys jump in and subscribe to the podcast. But anyways, Grant, we got NFL games to talk about right now. Why don't you bring us into our first one?
100%. So it's a big week for the NFL. We're crossing into the second month of the season. And obviously, some teams might be having their eyes set ahead at the playoffs. We're not worried about that. We're trying to find some winners here in Week 9. We're trying to find the player props, the picks, the spreads, everything that looks nice. And we're kicking it off with a big game. And we're going to go Colts Steelers. Maybe you didn't enter the season thinking that this would be a big game, but the Colts have the best offense in the NFL this century. They have been dialed in. Meanwhile, the Steelers, despite being a million years old, despite the defense being bad for the first time in a while, they're still first place in the AFC North, and they're looking to push that lead ahead coming off of the Ravens getting a win on Thursday night. So, Tanner, how do you see this one playing out?
I don't think much of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's my biggest problem here. I know we talked about this game a little bit on Tuesday, but I don't think a lot of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think offensively they can hang. Aaron Rodgers is still good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. They have a lot of weapons that they don't necessarily utilize as much as they should. Like, I think they need to get DK Metcalf a lot more involved in the offense, quicker in games and all that. But Aaron Rodgers can still throw a nice deep ball, and I think that's going to help them here against the Colts. The thing is, Indianapolis is just playing so good right now. They're running the ball tremendously. Daniel Jones looks good in the pocket. He's also working well in play action. That offensive line, I mean, that's who should win the MVP award this year, is the Colts offensive line. I don't know if you saw the picture on Twitter. It was like Jonathan Taylor's hole.
Yes, I did see it.
It was like this big.
Yeah.
More times a million, but I'm trying to show it on the screen. I mean, you could have legit drove a truck through that when they said. So that's how good this Colts offensive line is playing right now. And the Steelers do have an average run defense, but they have the worst passing defense in the NFL. So I would lean towards the Colts -3 on the road here against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me because obviously the Colts have been the better team. I just I don't want to sound like a hater because I can't give you something definitive. I can't say, oh, against this sort of scheme, this is where the struggle is. They've been overperforming in this general direction. Like, no, they've just been flat out great across the board. But they have legitimately been the most efficient offense in the 21st century. Do I think they're going to sustain that? No, I don't. Jonathan Taylor's been amazing. The offensive line's been amazing. Steichen has done a great job with this team. Daniel Jones looks reborn. I just don't think they are that good. So the question is, if they come down from that standard, and they can still be a good team, Colts fans, not saying they can't be, if they come down from that standard, do the Steelers have a chance in this game? Mike Tomlin being the best underdog coach in NFL history, although this is also the first time in Mike Tomlin's career we've seen his defense be awful. So how do I split the middle of those two? That's kind of where the difficulty lies for me with this matchup.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a trappy line in a way. Like 3 points, I would expect it to be like 3.5 to 4. Personally, I think three's getting the alarms going off a little bit for me here too. And I know the Steelers are more than capable of winning this game. But when you just look at the talent on the board, like I'll go to the Patriots and the Falcons game for a minute. I think the Patriots are a much better team than the Atlanta Falcons. I think 5.5 is the right line. But I also think the Falcons are more than capable of winning the game outright. We get that a lot with these games where one team's kind of underperforming, one team's playing really well. The team that's underperforming can still turn it up at any time, and we know the Pittsburgh Steelers are capable of that if they just get some stops in the secondary. So, this game probably plays into the strength of the Steelers a little bit just because they are better against the run than the pass. And if you make Daniel Jones sit in the pocket and throw the ball, you probably have a better chance of winning than if Jonathan Taylor is running all over you. So you got to stop the run, and then hopefully you can hang in the secondary. If they do that, they can compete. I just can't see taking the Pittsburgh Steelers with how good the Colts are playing right now.
So I was looking over at Kalshi, and you can get this for +3.5, which makes it a lot more palatable, makes it a lot easier for me to take the Steelers. I think that's where I would go. But again, the Colts team, they have continued to impress me. They've continued to prove me wrong. And at this point, like I said, I'm just any hesitation I have is just because it doesn't seem to me like they can be this historic offense. But that's what they have been for 2 months straight now. So I don't know. Maybe it's just who they are.
Yeah, we don't know, and we really won't know until we get to meaningful football games. Like the Colts have been very impressive, but once we turn it up again, like I think we both said this is the Vikings of last season. They're good. I don't look at them as a serious contender in the playoffs. I think they can win a game. I don't think they can win enough to get to the Super Bowl. But looking at props, Grant, I'm going to start it off here if you're okay with that.
Yeah, go for it.
I like Daniel Jones over 1.5 passing touchdowns in this game. And I do like Daniel Jones over his yards, but the number's a little high there for me at 250. Just because, the Steelers are really bad in the secondary and Daniel Jones has been throwing for a lot of yards, but this is a spot where, they might come out on the road, try to enforce their will running the football. And you look at the numbers, 3 of the past 5, he's gone over that line, but there have been 2 games where it's been 212 passing yards, but the touchdown numbers have been going up for him. He had 2 against Vegas on October 5th, 2 against the Cardinals the next week, 2 against the Chargers next week, had 3 last week against the Tennessee Titans. And again, you're dealing with a really bad passing defense. The reason Jones has been so effective this year, and I don't want to take anything away from it, but they can run the ball really well. The play action game works really well, and guys are running wide open down the field because of that play action game. So I think there's going to be opportunities for him to hit some shots down the field. Also, I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game, so I will take him over his passing touchdowns.
So that actually works in well with my first pick here. I will go to Michael Pittman Jr. from the Colts there. Tyler Warren actually has the highest receiving line of Colts players at 56.5. Pittman 1 yard behind at 55.5, but he is the one that I would be taking in this game. Now, Warren does lead them in receiving yards for the season, but it's Pittman who leads them in targets. He leads them in receptions. The last couple of weeks, Warren had 5. I think he had 5 targets and catches in both of them, or maybe it's 5 targets, 4 catches in both of them. Pittman, 9 targets each of the last 2 weeks, 7 and 8 receptions, looking at those games, coming off a season high 95 yards. First of all, it just makes sense that the outside receiver against a bad defense would have the strongest day. But also, again, Warren's taken the league by storm a bit, but Pittman has been the number 1 receiver in terms of targets. That's where Jones has looked the most, and he proved that over the last 2 weeks. So this, realistically, 55.5 yards for a receiver is like 4, maybe 5 catches. And I feel like you're going to get that just seeing how the Steelers defense has played this season.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I like that play a lot. Plays right into where I'm at for my first prop. My second prop here, Grant, that I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with a little Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
I'm feeling Jonathan Taylor over 18.5 receiving yards in the spot. Again, I think the play action is going to come in handy. I think this is a spot where the Colts are going to try to run the ball. Maybe they're going to be effective, maybe not. Obviously, with how they've played, they've been very effective. But when it comes to the receiving yards with Jonathan Taylor, 21, 38, 14, 20, and 20. So pretty high hit rate at this 18.5 number. And again, if the Steelers can stop the run or limit the run, you're going to have to throw the ball, check downs, play action game. Jonathan Taylor fits right into that. And again, he's gone over in 4 of his past 5. So I think this is a solid number here. It's going to be tight, but one that I do like.
So I only got 2 props from this game. My second one will be Aaron Rodgers over 222.5 passing yards. If the Colts are this team, if they are this high-powered offense, Aaron Rodgers and company are going to have to throw the ball. They're going to have to try to keep up. And that's why it's almost unfair when you look at some of the Colts' defensive metrics, like 2 big ones that I love. EPA per play, which is a measure of basically scoring efficiency. The Colts are like just outside of the top 10 in scoring efficiency against opposing quarterbacks. But then success rate, which is the ability to stay ahead of the chains, they are like bottom 5 in the NFL. And I would have to go really look at the data, but in my mind, that means the data is being skewed because in the second half of games, they're just backing off, keeping everything in front of them. Hey, we'll let you complete these passes. Hey, we'll let you rack up these yards. We're just not giving up big explosive plays because our offense has already scored 35 points. So it's almost you almost can't even look at their numbers when you're trying to figure this out. You just got to try to talk to yourself and say, this is how I see the game playing out. If the Colts do take that lead, Rodgers have to throw to keep up with yards. If they don't, I just still don't think the Steelers are going to win this game on the back of their defense. They remain committed to running the football, but they don't run the football well. And the Colts defense, honestly, is not great. They just not have been put in stressful situations because their offense has done such a great job. So I do think most of the ways that this game plays out could still lead to Rodgers having a solid game.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at Rodgers' props right now, very inflated. The completions and attempts are up from what he usually does. The yards are up from what he usually does. So they're thinking the Colts are going to score and he's going to have to throw the ball. So I like the mindset there. I don't know. I think the Colts are a better team than the Steelers. That's what's hard about this game. I think the Steelers can compete with them, but the Colts are the better team. And if both teams come out and do what they've done so far this season, the Colts should win and cover. And who knows if Aaron Rodgers goes over because he might not be on the field a lot.
Yeah, I wonder if I can get some betting splits for this game real quick. This is per FanDuel. Do they not have it? I take it back.
Weird.
They don't have it.
They have it. Sometimes they don't have it there. I do have spreads. No, I don't have it. So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes they have it. Sometimes they don't. It's really weird when it comes to the splits on the FanDuel. But yeah, if you guys want to check out splits, there's plenty of sites to do it. You can check out some ways to get there on WSN.com. Grant, anything else on this game?
No, I think we go to the big one.
The big one. There's only one big one this weekend. That's the problem. All these other games it's not like they're bad. Obviously, all football is good, but this is a big one on Sunday. So we got the Kansas City Chiefs going to Highmark Stadium to face the Buffalo Bills. This will probably be the last time the Chiefs go to Buffalo to face the Bills in Highmark Stadium. Not going to say never is never because we got a playoff game potentially, but this is a big spot. Patrick Mahomes was talking about it pre-game pressers. He's saying this could be the last time we play in Buffalo at this stadium. This also is a spot where Bills fans don't like us very much. The Chiefs kind of got their swagger back. I think that's my biggest fear with Kansas City right now. That loss in the Super Bowl and people writing them off the first few weeks of the season, it seemed to put Patrick Mahomes and this team in a different mindset. And I know they're old. You got Travis Kelce, who's old as dirt out there, but you got Rashee Rice. You got Xavier Worthy. You got a run game that's not great, but you know what? They're still going to run the ball. Patrick Mahomes is going to run the ball. They are getting better and better by the week, and they are the clear-cut favorite to win the AFC right now. They tend to lose to the Buffalo Bills in the regular season, Grant. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, what I think are they 1-3? Is that their record against the Bills in the regular season?
1-3 or 1-4, whatever it is. And then Josh is like 0 and whatever against Mahomes in the playoffs.
0-4 probably. 0-3.
I really want to see Chiefs Bills in the playoffs, and I want to see Josh lose again. I don't know what I like Josh. I'm a big Josh fan. And
That sounds like a hater.
No, I'm a big Josh fan. Like, I like Josh, but I don't know. I like seeing what's the word? I think I've bet against Patrick Mahomes so many times. I just like betting on him at this point. But I think it would be really cool to see Josh lose to Pat continuously in the playoffs and the Bills to never win the Super Bowl.
I'm sorry. I'm just noticing. Are you wearing a Patriots shirt and a Buccaneers hat?
Drake May, Tampa Bay, Baker.
Such a Tom Brady fan.
I'm a Drake May fan. Drake May is a glorious king. Do you follow Drake May's wife on TikTok?
Of course not.
She always posts like food TikTok. Like, she's very wholesome content. She's not a typical NFL. She's not a Cardi B. Let's just put it at that.
Okay.
And she's baking. She's like baking these treats every day. Like, that's what she teaches Pilates and bakes like treats. And everyone in the comments are like, make sure our glorious King Drake May doesn't eat too much. Or it's like, the way Drake's going to eat those muffins is so tough. Like, it's like 6,000 comments of just like Drake May lovers. So
are you one of them? Are you commenting?
I never comment, but I really do enjoy reading the comments where it's like, the way Drake's going to eat those muffins is so tough. Always gets me. Tough, TUFF.
Yeah, of course. TUFF. That's the guy way to spell tough.
I didn't even know that was a thing until I started reading those comments.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are we with this game? Oh, so we haven't even got to our picks yet.
I said I want Josh to continuously lose to Pat in the playoffs. And I don't you?
I mean, I don't want him to fail. I want to see them play. I want to see more games between them.
I want Patrick. Well, I don't want Patrick Mahomes to ever chase Tom Brady, but I feel like we've kind of ditched that argument. Like, Patrick Mahomes is never going to be Tom Brady in my mind. So, like, I'm good with it. If he wants to go win. But like, I kind of like the post-game pressers when Josh cries. I don't know why. I enjoy it. I don't want to see the Bills win. I think Bills fans are blah.
Okay, well, feelings about the fans aside, this is going to be the best game of the weekend, hopefully. If it's not, then something went wrong. It's a game that, we say this every year, but it is a game that the Bills need to win. The Chiefs could lose, and they could fall to 4-4. And I guess maybe that puts more onus on the Chiefs than in any of these previous meetings. But even at 4-4, or they wouldn't be 4-4, so they'd be 5-4. The Chiefs would still be favored, if not right behind the favorites to win the AFC. We would still be looking at them saying, yeah, even if they don't win the division, they're the best team in the AFC West. They're going to get to the conference championship, all that stuff. With the Bills, if you lose 2 straight games going to the bye week, you come out, you thump the Panthers, and then you turn around and you lose to the Chiefs. It's like, I don't know what I would feel about the Bills, because up to this point in the season, all they've done is beat up on bad teams, aside from week 1, where they have the miraculous comeback against the Ravens. And that was a Ravens collapse more than anything. You beat up on the Jets, you beat up on the Dolphins, you beat up on the Saints, lose to the Patriots, lose to the Falcons, beat up on the Panthers. Now you lose to the Chiefs. It's like, okay, what am I actually looking at? You haven't beaten a team with a winning record yet this season, and we're heading into week 10. So I do feel like this is more important for the Bills.
Yeah, it's definitely more important for the Bills, but I think it doesn't matter if the Bills win. It really doesn't. Like, if they win, they can't beat them in the playoffs. This game doesn't matter in general. Like, I think it
doesn't matter for the Chiefs. That's the thing. Every time they play in the regular season, it doesn't mean anything to the Chiefs.
I don't think it means anything to Josh either right now in the Bills, because when you look at this game, it doesn't mean anything in the scheme of like playoffs. It means, am I going to win my division or not? And that's important, obviously, to win the division. Don't get me wrong, but you're not going to be the 1 seed. You're going to be playing a game on the opening weekend, no matter what. So this is a spot where it's like, am I gonna be able, like, if you win, you beat him every year in the regular season. It doesn't matter. You can't beat him in the postseason. It's not like a confidence builder or anything. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope for a good game. I really do. It's funny as the years have gone on and we've looked at this rivalry. I feel like the supporting cast has died down and died down. You know, we had Stephon Diggs was a part of this, and Amari Cooper for a brief period was a part of this, and we had Tyreek Hill, and I mean Kelsey's still there, but he's not a headliner like he once was. I feel like the teams around these two players have gotten worse as the years have gone on, and it's more and more just about them versus their teams.
This isn't an interesting rivalry at all. Like there's no rivalry here because Josh can't beat Pat in the playoffs. So like this game is kind of, don't get me wrong, I'm excited about it because of the slate, but like CBS can hype it up all they want. It's really not that big of a deal, you know? It's just another game because, like you said, the teams have gotten worse. 3, 4, 5 years ago, it was like, oh, Josh can beat Pat. Like that game in the playoffs where, there was 20 seconds left and the Chiefs got the kick out down and drove the field. Like that was great because at the time still, it wasn't like, hey, Pat beats everybody. Like that still wasn't the theme. It was, we're getting there, but that wasn't the theme. Now it's like, the Chiefs just win all the time. The Bills can't beat them in the playoffs. This Bills team is worse than ever. The Ravens can't beat them in the playoffs. Chiefs are just the best.
That game is still one of the best moments in sports I've ever seen.
I remember at the time I won like $300 or $400 on that game, and it was like the coolest experience. Like that's what gambling's awesome because like I got beat up last night. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm hurting. I'm limping into this podcast this morning, but like I look at that game, like winning the money I won on that game and how we won and like who I was with. I remember that like it was yesterday. I look at the Super Bowl with the Chiefs won against the 49ers, and I remember that win. Like that was one of my biggest wins ever. Like I just remember that game. Like that's why gambling's awesome. Brings people together.
I had a large bet on the Chiefs money line in the Super Bowl last year, and they obviously got smoked.
Yeah.
But I also had a 4-leg parlay that basically brought me back to even, and I think it was a DeAndre Hopkins touchdown, a Devontae Smith touchdown, and like 2 or 3 Mahomes' longest pass, and I think Xavier Worthy touchdown, and that basically brought me back to even. And that was, I mean, I was pissed the whole game for obvious reasons, and then right at the end, I think it was the Worthy bomb from Mahomes for like 60 yards that saved me. I was like, okay, I'm not even mad anymore.
that Super Bowl was so bad because I was like, all right, well, I have a future on the Eagles. I'm gonna bet. But I have a future on the Eagles. I think I had some situation where I was like, I'm going to bet a lot of money on Saquon Barkley to score a touchdown because if the Chiefs win the football game, Saquon Barkley probably doesn't score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, and obviously that didn't work out. He got shut down and the Eagles blew him off the field. So it just was not a good night for me last year. But again, you got to have the highs to have the lows. You got to have the lows to have the highs. It all goes together.
All right, let's get into some player props from this game. I'm going to kick us off with a big one here because it's a big man, but I'm thinking he's going to play small in this game. I'm going to take Keon Coleman under. There's a good line here, about -112 odds. So right that middle line. Keon Coleman under 3.5 receptions. I get that it's not the most standard pick in the world. Like you're not going to see this number. It's not receiving yards. It's not anytime touchdown score. But if you look at Coleman's recent games, so he goes 8 for 112 and a touchdown in the opener against the Ravens. Awesome. The reinvented Keon Coleman, second-year receiver. He's taken the leap. From that point on, he has never gotten past 4 receptions or 45 yards in a game. He's also only scored 1 touchdown since that point. So here is receptions by game this season. 8 in the opener, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3. So he's been right on that line. We are towing it a little bit because the line is at 3.5, but Spagnuolo is, in my opinion, top 2, top 3 at worst defensive coordinator in the NFL. Josh just doesn't look at his direction all that much. He's gonna run it himself. They're gonna run it with Cook. He's gonna throw it to Kincaid. He'll throw it to Knox. He'll throw it to Shakir. He'll throw it to anybody except for Keon Coleman. And Chiefs got some good players in that secondary, so I think he'll be held in check.
I like that. I think it's funny. You look at when you look at the Bills. I would want to ask is who do you think of the feature guy when you look at the Bills from a receiving standpoint?
From a receiving standpoint,
Yeah,
the honest answer is there really isn't. There's not really an answer.
no, I look at Kincaid number one. Like I think that's the guy. James Cook obviously, but when I think of like just good receivers on that team, tight ends, whatever you want to call it, I look at Kincaid. But Kincaid actually has one of the highest highest productions with the lowest volume. Like they don't get the ball to any of these guys a lot.
Yeah, Kincaid is third on their team in targets and receptions. It's Shakir who leads them, and he leads them in everything: receptions, targets, yards, touchdowns.
But the problem is like Shakir's total is 14 yards higher than Kincaid. Like that's showing you that there ain't much of a difference between these two.
Right. He is. So Shakir's averaging 51 receiving yards per game this season. Kincaid's actually also averaging 51 because he played one less game.
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
Coleman's at 38.
Yep. And yeah, Kincaid's was hurt. Yep. So
Okay. So we're talking about an MVP. We're talking about one of the top Super Bowl favorites. Talking about one of the supposedly the best offenses in the NFL. And the number one receiver is averaging 51 yards a game.
well, James Cook. I mean, this offense revolves around James Cook. He's the star. And I don't think James Cook gets to 75.5 yards. That's not one of my plays this weekend. But if you shut down James Cook, you shut down this team. Josh Allen's good. Like, he's very good. Drake May is 10 times better. Like, the AFC East is about to change.
All right. Relax. Drake May has never beaten a team when his defense gave up more than 20 points. Drake May has never won a game when he's thrown for more than like 25 passes. Like Drake May's been awesome this year, not taking that away from him. He's beat up on trash cans. He's not played any high leverage games. He's been playing with a great defense. His running big game's been able to support him. Let's just wait before we crown him as anything.
The Bills are done. Like, this Bills team is just trash. Like, they're not very good. And I think the Chiefs, I do think they win the game because like it's just the trajectory of how this series has played out. Chiefs win the postseason, Bills win the regular season. But anyways, I'll get back to my picks here. Give me a Rashee Rice touchdown. This Chiefs offense has evolved so much since he's come along. I don't care if it's minus 110. He's been just fantastic. They get the ball to him around the goal line. They get the ball to him in space. Patrick Mahomes looks really good getting these. Like, they have a good receiving core with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. It's by far not the best in the NFL, but Rashee Rice so far 2 games back, 16 receptions, 135 yards, 3 touchdowns. 10 yards per reception last week against Washington, was only 6 against the Raiders the week before, but still they use him in different ways. They're going to get the ball to him around the goal line. Another one that I potentially like, Travis Kelce plus 110. They're starting to find him a little bit more. He's been very explosive too. So those 2 guys that I like to score there for the Chiefs.
I would also put in a anytime touchdown scorer pick for Kareem Hunt. The Chiefs like to run the ball when they are close to the goal line. They even threw him a touchdown last week. He had 2 touchdowns, one on the ground, one through the air. Isaiah Pacheco got that sprained, I think it's an MCL. It's something in his knee. He got hit and his knee caved in inward a little. Doesn't look like a tear. Doesn't look like season ending, but he'll miss a little bit of time. I'm expecting Kareem Hunt to be that number 1 back. And the Chiefs, they have not had they've not had an explosive running game for years now, but they are firmly committed to on 3rd and 2, we're running the football. When we're at the goal line, we're running the football. And even when Pacheco is healthy, Hunt would still get most of their goal line work. So it's plus 105, not the best odds in the world, and he's not going to break away. He's not going to create the touchdown himself, but when they're in the red zone, they'll give him the opportunities.
Yeah, the Chiefs are pretty predictable, but they disguise things so well that it makes it hard to defend. That's the biggest thing with the Chiefs.
I would also, I would also
Go
just say another running back here, since I was talking about running backs for the Chiefs. Some sports books are not offering his lines, so wait until we get closer to kickoff and keep an eye on it. But Brashard Smith, you have seen, he's a rookie converted receiver turned running back out of SMU. You've seen his usage pick up a little bit as the year has progressed, and obviously with Pacheco not being there, he definitely could be utilized a lot. I could see him catching 3, 4, 5 passes in this game. The Chiefs like to do that super quick swing stuff to the perimeter with him being a converted wide receiver or wide receiver converted running back. he has great pass catching instincts anyway. He's kind of going to be a PPR demon in the next couple of years for fantasy football players. So he's someone that I would keep an eye on.
One pick defensively prop that we have not done. We haven't done a lot of defensive props, but I don't mind Joey Bosa to get a sack plus 120 in this game. He's got 3 on the season so far. If the script plays into how I'm thinking the game is going to go, I do think Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be tamed at times on the road. Mahomes is smart, not trying to force the ball down the field. If he gets in a situation where he gets in trouble, maybe he'll just go down if he can't use his legs to scramble. He is so good escaping stuff in the pocket. But if you stay in your rush lanes, you put yourself in a position to be successful there. And if anyone's getting a sack for the Bills, it's Joey Bosa in this game.
Okay, there we go.
All right, on to the next one, right, Grant?
Yeah, let's go to Sunday Night Football, where we got the Seattle Seahawks going across the country to visit the Washington Commanders. There's been a little bit of weird line movement. So the Seahawks have been 3.5-point favorites at most sports books pretty much since opening. Then over the last 24 hours or so, despite Terry McLaurin being ruled out, despite the Commanders having probably the worst injury situation of any team in the league, if not the worst, they're right at the top there. Laramie Tunsil banged up, Javon Kinlaw, Daron Payne, on top of guys they've lost for the season. Despite all of that, the line has moved to Commanders +3. So I don't know if that's just the public saying at 3.5, I'm going to bet the underdog. I'm going to move this line down. But what do you make of this matchup?
I think it's another one that's very similar to what we talked about earlier with the Colts and the Steelers. I think the Commanders are more than capable of being in this game. I think we saw that last week. Even with Marcus Mariota on the field, there were still plenty of moments where they could have kept it closer than they did against the Kansas City Chiefs. But in the end of the day, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they found their rhythm in the second half, and they got it going. This is one that I feel about the same way about that. The Seattle Seahawks, I don't think they're the best team in the world. They've been really good on the road, though, just in general. And I look at Sam Darnold here in this spot. Like, Sam Darnold's been very good getting the ball down the field. You got Jaxon Smith-Njigba coming off, I believe, a bye week, right? I think they had a bye.
Can we talk about this for a second? Explain to me how this is fair. The Commanders are on the road in Kansas City on Monday Night Football. So they're a short week having come off playing off the road, and the Seahawks are coming off a bye week. So we've got 14 days of rest versus 6.
It's just not fair, Grant. But you know what's else not fair? Playing your division opponent like twice in the same month, multiple times for multiple teams. I think that's not fair either. So I think the NFL schedule makers just aren't very good. I think we're more worried about growing the game outside of this country than we are keeping it in the country and, being fair to our players. But that's another thing too. Anyways, this is just a spot. Seattle's rested. The passing game's been legitimate. The defense has been strong. Seattle's only a 2-loss team. They've been good on the road this season. Your Commanders are not very good. I don't care who's on the field, who's at quarterback. It doesn't matter. The Commanders' defense is going to be an issue in this game, and I think Seattle is going to exploit that. So if Washington does win, cover, keep this one close, I think it has to go over the line. But I will take the Seahawks to cover the spread.
Yeah, so with this line creeping down to 3 instead of 3.5, I would feel more comfortable taking the Seahawks. I probably still would have done it at 3.5, but it's just a lot more enticing now. What's weird for me, and obviously I'm a Commanders fan, you guys can tell that from the background there, is the Commanders really should not only win, they should be favored in this game. It's just nothing has gone right for them this season. Going back to training camp, the offense doesn't get to practice together because the guards are out and the top 2 receivers are out. Then Terry gets injured. Terry's now ruled out of this game. Your leading sack man, Dorrance Armstrong, he's out for the year. It's just there's never been a chance for this team to find a rhythm, sort of gel, even last week against the Chiefs, like we were talking about. The fact that it's 7-7 going into halftime is crazy. That was the first time Mahomes' career he had thrown interceptions on the first 2 drives of the game. Commanders' defense has been arguably the worst in the NFL this season. Certainly their pass defense probably has been. And then they come out there and they produce a masterclass on the road against the Chiefs, but it's the offense that completely splits the bit. This team just can't get anything going at the same time. And yes, Jayden Daniels is coming back now, but if you ask me, I bet the defense probably takes a huge step backwards. So I would take the Seahawks. Again, the Commanders have more than enough talent to keep this close, to win this game outright, but the Seahawks coming off a bye, they're going to be prepared, and they're just the safer pick right now.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the safeness of the pick. And, the Commanders could be up 7 at the half. I wouldn't feel good about the spread by any means. We've seen it with these teams that come out strong. Even last night with the Dolphins. The Dolphins still in a position to cover that spread going into the second half, and then just the better team takes over. I feel like I've seen that multiple times in the NFL so far in the past couple weeks, honestly. So Washington needs to come out hot. They need to stay hot, but defensively, there's just too many flaws for Seattle to not win and cover in this game in my mind. So glad we're on the same page, Grant.
Yeah, let's get into some player props here. I will start us off here if you don't mind.
Yep.
I'm going to take us to Jayden Daniels, and I'm going to go with under 32.5 passing attempts, which might sound, again, a little bit off the beaten path, but he's only gone over this line one time this season. That was against the Packers, which I know it was a 9-point loss. Packers beat the crap out of them. That was the worst game of Jayden's career. The Commanders barely ran the football in that game, 42 pass attempts to 19 rushing attempts. Now, I get it. The Seahawks do have the best run defense in the NFL, but they also have not faced a bunch of great running teams so far. They played the Buccaneers, but that was when Bucky Irving was out. They played the Jags, ETN. They played the Texans, who don't want to run the football. They played the Cardinals, who James Conner's out. They played the Saints. The Saints fell behind very quickly early on. They didn't really have a chance to run the football. So I think the Commanders, even though their running game also hasn't been great lately, that's been influenced by Jayden being out. I think they'll mix in some designed runs with him. They'll look to get Krosky Merritt going again. And they're going to have to try to keep the Seattle offense off the field just to protect their own defense. And the way to do that is not by having your quarterback throw for what would be, at minimum, his second most attempts in a game this season. So, again, I think Jayden goes under there.
And this could also be a spot, too, where if the Seahawks do start taking over, it gets out of reach, and Washington's just not on the field a lot, too. So I agree with you there. I think that's a good take. I really want to figure out different ways to bet Jaxon Smith-Njigba. I like him over 28.5 for his longest reception. I mean, his yards are just getting so high, 95.5, even though he's crushing that every week. The receptions are set at 6.5. But I think the over on the reception does have some value here when you just look at how he has been so far this season. He's gone over this in 4 of his past 5 games. Sam Darnold's been really explosive down the field, and they're working play action and well. And the Commanders' defense in the secondary has not been great this season by any means. They are
We're dead last in yards allowed per attempt.
240 dead last in yards allowed per attempt, 244 total passing yards allowed per game. That is in the bottom third of the NFL. I believe that's like 25th, 26th. So, not a good passing defense. I think Jaxon Smith-Njigba was going to have a field day, but I don't mind going over 28.5 for the longest reception, especially right now on FanDuel. You're getting that minus 108, and again, has gone over in 4 of his past 5 games.
So as a fan of the team, I would say if I were to pick a market, not even for this player or for this team, a market that's the most exploitable, it would be that longest reception, because the thing that's made them so bad in secondary is these communication breakdowns, and they happen multiple times every game where guys are just running free. I think you took Pickens over on his longest reception ahead of the Cowboys Commanders game, and he got one for 44 in that game, and that cashed. So, and also in that game, CD had one for 74. Against the Falcons, Bijan had one for 70. Tucker Kraft had one for 53. This stuff just happens basically every game. So JSN running away with one of the most impressive receiver seasons we've seen recently, I think that's a smart play.
Cool. Anything else, Grant, before we move into Monday Night Football?
Yeah, I'm going to, maybe I'm contradicting myself a little bit here coming off of what I just said, but I'm going to take the under on AJ Barner at 25.5 receiving yards. Commanders did something last game, and their defensive coordinator, Joe Witt Jr., confirmed he's going to keep that change coming into this week. They inserted Tyler Owens, who was actually an undrafted free agent out of Texas Tech last year. He's a safety. They inserted him into the starting lineup, and the thing about Owens is he's 6'4". He's one of those guys who, if he stuck with track and field in high school and college, he would have been at the Olympic trials by now. Like, legitimately, dude can fly, but he's also a bodybuilder. He's also 6'4". So they inserted him into the starting lineup against the Chiefs because they wanted to have more flexibility using man coverage against Travis Kelce, essentially. And it worked to a certain extent. Now, Kelsey tore him up later in the game, but that was when Owens wasn't on the field. They also inserted speed to the middle of the field with Jordan McGee. He's a guy who ran a 4.5 at the combine. He's a second-year player. They have just increased the speed over the middle of the field, and considering that middle zone had been what was a major weakness with their pass defense, they are working to remedy that, and that's where Barner's going to be. So I just feel like they're more equipped to defend the middle of the field now than they were before.
No, I like it. I think it's good play, Grant. I think it's good play.
Thank you.
I mean, you're just innovating. That's what you do.
I'm riding.
You take a
riding the line.
You take a deep dive into the stats. I like it. Okay, so are we ready for Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football?
Yeah, Monday Night Football, last game of the week.
Kyler Murray returns from playing Xbox on the injured list to facing the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. We got Cardinals versus Cowboys. The Cowboys 2.5-point home favorite here. This one feels like a Cowboys smash play. Like this one feels like they are going to absolutely roll the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know how you feel, Grant. Let me know. But I am going to be heavy on the Dallas Cowboys here.
It feels like that's what should happen. Absolutely. There is just a part of me that's like, this is also the Cowboys we're talking about, right? Like these are the games they lose. The Cardinals are not a good football team, but they are coming off of a bye week. And as much as we want to ignore that, that matters. Teams coming off a bye, they're more rested, they're more prepared. It's a reality of football. It is what it is. It's an equalizer to a certain extent. So yes, the Cowboys are a better team than the Cardinals. There's a chance the Cardinals win this. The Cowboys defense has shown it's going to play any team into the game. When they give up 44 points to the Broncos last week, they gave up 40 to the Packers, and I get it, it's the Packers, but they gave up 37 to the Giants. They made Caleb Williams look like a Hall of Famer. Justin Fields had 300 yards and 2 touchdowns against them. They gave up 30 to the Panthers. Is it possible the Cardinals, coming off of all this rest and preparation, they come out and Marvin Harrison Jr. goes for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns and they win 33-30? Yeah, that could absolutely happen.
Yeah, it could. It's one of those games where I can't see myself taking the Cardinals with how Kyler Murray has looked at quarterback. I know he's been hurt and he's coming back in this spot, but I just don't. The Cardinals seem like their season's over more than the Cowboys, but the Cowboys season's also kind of over. It's a tough spot, but I think the Cowboys offense can score more than the Cardinals offense. I know that, and that's why I have to go with them at home.
That makes sense, but we were also saying that when they played the Panthers and they lost.
But they still put up a lot of points.
Yeah, they're going to score.
They're going to score. They're going to score. They're going to give up points, but I trust Bryce Young and company to do more offensively than Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, the lure has faded with him so much. Like he's that I ever thought he was going to be good. What?
He's a smaller Tua.
He's a smaller Tua, but he's 10 times worse than Tua. I'd take Tua any day over him.
Yeah, I would too.
Tua's at least. I don't like lefty quarterbacks, but at least he can get the ball down the field. Like he cannot see. Kyler Murray cannot see over his offensive line.
I don't know. Tua said at the press conference, "I'm short. I couldn't see Waddle." So.
Oh, of course, but like Kyler Murray, like he literally looks like. And I haven't seen the memes on Twitter with the big helmet and the tiny body in a while. But like that's Kyler Murray to a T. He must not be. He's looking at the offensive line's butt basically.
I need to see him with a Guardian cap.
That'd be funny. That would really make him look like a youth football player. He would never do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tanner. I do have a Kyler Murray prop in this game, if you don't mind. So
go for it.
I am like I don't love Kyler Murray. I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. However, and of course, I just closed my stats that I had in front of me. Here we go. Kyler Murray. I'm gonna take him over 25.5 rushing yards in this game. He had 25 in his last game against the Titans when he got hurt, so he missed it by half a yard. Went over in every game this season before that, 38, 32, 37, 41. I do understand that he is coming back off of a foot injury. In theory, that makes him less likely to run. I just don't think Kyler Murray is pushing to get back if he's not actually ready to play fully. So I'm not expecting many injury issues there. Cowboys defense sucks flat out. Even Cowboys fans know that. And the really weird thing about them is despite them being in zone, which means they can have eyes on the quarterback, they've done a bad job of limiting quarterback runs this season, as counterintuitive as it is. Part of that's them not having speed in the middle of the field, but whatever the reason is, I think Kyler Murray, especially with James Conner being out, I would expect maybe instead of this being a typical run, maybe at least now it's a read option. Like there's going to be one or two more designed looks for him than there would be if Conner was there. So this really is 3, maybe 4 carries, and I think he can get there.
There kind of has to be. I mean, if he's not running the ball, he's not going to be effective. And there's been games where they have stayed away from him running the football. And he's not overly decisive either. That's his issue right now. Like he wants to be a pocket guy. Or he wants to throw the ball, let's say. He does not want to run. He protects his body at all costs, which he should. But he's not putting his life on the line to run the football down the field, which is an issue with him because he needs to be able to do that.
Yeah, so 25.5, that's a small line. His numbers this season, 38, 32, 37, 41, and then 25, like I said in his last game.
Yep, I like that. I'm going to go with George Pickens over 61.5 receiving yards. George Pickens is the guy in Dallas. I know CD Lamb's there, but you get so much more value with George Pickens. 78 yards last game, 82 the week before that, 168, 57, 134. So he's gone over this line in 4 of his past 5 here. Yeah, 4 of his past 5. So, I mean, George Pickens is fantastic. He's really become a different receiver since coming to Dallas. Dak loves throwing the ball to him, and I'd rather play him for this line than CD Lamb at 79.5. I both think they're going to have good days, but George Pickens has just been a steady number 2 there, and when he was in the number 1 spot, he was very good, and I think that helped build trust with Dak. So going over there, Cardinals defense is not going to be able to stop both of them.
So I'm actually going to take this. I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to go Dak. And it sounds weird. I get it. I'm going to take him under 266.5 passing yards. I think Dak's going to be good in this game. I really do. The issue is, so Dak has only gone over this line twice this season, and that was when his opponent scored at least 37 points. It was the overtime game against the Giants. I'd have to check. He might not have gotten there until overtime. Again, I'll have to check. And then the Packers game where both teams put up 40 and it ends in a tie, which means that means they also went to overtime. Yeah, so he's never done this in a game in 4 quarters, and he's never done this in a game where the team scored less than 37 points. So yeah, I think Dak will be good. It's just I don't think Kyler Murray, if the Cardinals are going to win this game, I've talked about they can put up points, but I don't think they're hitting 40. I think they could get to like 27, and it's 27-24, something like that. It's not going to be at the point where Dak is just consistently going bombs away on this defense. And I got to bet the numbers. The numbers have told me he goes under basically every time, so I'll do it again.
Well, speaking of betting the numbers, Kyler Murray under 248.5 passing yards. This is my last one here. He has not gone anywhere close to this line this season. He's been at 220 twice. That's his highest games of the season. So 248.5 for a guy like Kyler Murray coming off an injury who's also, 4'11". It's going to be really hard to go over this line. I don't care if the Cowboys defense is bad. It's not like the Arizona Cardinals have a ton of weapons. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not reliable, and Trey McBride's like an underneath threat. Like he's going to get his touches because he's a check down guy. But other than that, like I don't see them coming anywhere close to 248.5 passing yards. If they do, chances are the Cowboys are scoring a lot of points if they feel the need to throw the ball that much to get to 248.5 for Kyler Murray. I just don't see that happening. I think they got to play clock control, run the football, move the chains. I don't think they're going to be super high powered on offense with Kyler coming off an injury.
I think that's a great play. I like that better than my Dak play. I think maybe we parlay them. Both quarterbacks under.
Yeah, I mean, Dak, like Kyler, there's more of a route for Dak to get to his over than Kyler to get to his over. Yeah. I don't mind either, but like Kyler, the fact that maybe the books know something, that the fact that he's 28 yards higher than anything he's done this season and he's coming off an injury, maybe they know, but I can't trust a guy like Kyler Murray.
No, I mean, he's much, much more likely to go over that 25 rushing yards than he is 248.5 passing.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Well, Grant, anything else?
I'm good. I said everything I needed to say. Now we just got to sit around and wait and see what happens.
Yeah, no, we got to wait till Monday Night Football. But we will be back on Tuesday here on the podcast. We'll also have some clips coming out, so make sure you check those out. But we'll be back on Tuesday for another episode of Ride the Line. Make sure you guys check out WSN.com, the World Sports Network. We are presented by WSN, the best sports network. Get your picks and promo codes all over that, guys. And then also make sure that you subscribe to the podcast, right, Grant?
100%. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on future uploads. Hit the like button if you have made it to the end of this video. It's obvious that you like us. So hitting the like button is the easiest way you can support us. Takes 2 seconds out of your day.
Yep, definitely. So we will see you guys next time on another episode of Ride the Line. We appreciate you joining. And you know what, Grant? People got to keep riding.